Voice of Indonesia.
Voice of Indonesia from Indonesia to the world. In today's edition of Indonesia and Diplomacy, we have a special interview with an Indonesian ambassador in a country in Africa, which is Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe and Indonesia share the same history since the large-scale Asian-African Conference, and this highlights how Asian countries have cordial relations with Africa, and most importantly, Zimbabwe. And therefore, Indonesia would like to not only be friends, but also development partners for Zimbabwe. And to find out more about the diplomatic relations between Zimbabwe and Indonesia, we're already connected to Indonesian ambassador in Harare, Zimbabwe, His Excellency Dewa Juniarta Sastrawan. Good afternoon from Jakarta, Indonesia, Ambassador Dewa.
Good morning from Zimbabwe. Hello, Indonesia.
Hello, Mr. Ambassador, and all Indonesians as well in Zimbabwe and the embassy. So it's a very lovely morning, apparently, as seen as in your smile today. Okay, talking about the weather, on the other hand, here in Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia, it's so hot in the past few weeks, almost a month. But it doesn't hamper us to keep being lively, to spread information here from Indonesia and now from Zimbabwe. Now we are so curious, and also our listeners and viewers, actually about the historical background of diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Zimbabwe. How close is it?
We are very close, have a very close relationship with Zimbabwe. So our relation with Zimbabwe, of course, as you were saying in the beginning, that cannot be said of Asia-Africa Bandung Conference. So that makes, how there's Afro-Asia relationship. That's one thing. And the second thing is that both of us, we are the member of non-line movement. So this is the historical background, how our relationship is built. And to continue this relation, of course, then, as being stated by our basic law, we have to, every country have the right for independence. Then once the Zimbabwe declared independence in 1980, so since 1986, in June 1986, we opened diplomatic relation, we opened embassy in Zimbabwe. And then in September for the same year in 1986, Zimbabwe hosts the 8th Summit of Non-Line Movement. So this is very, very historical background, that why we are very close and we are working together with Zimbabwe.
Okay, and what about the specific areas of cooperation between Indonesia and Zimbabwe that the two countries are working on?
We, at this moment, that we specifically give priority for relation on the economic cooperation. And the second one is, of course, development cooperation. So this is one that we know promoting, and we also believe that through economic cooperation, we can not only can increase the trade or investment cooperation between the two countries, but it also will deepen the engagement between Indonesia, between the two nations, of course, yeah. And on the other hand, at the same time, by strengthening this economic cooperation, we are automatically strengthen the connectivity between Asia and Africa. So the second one, that through establishment of development cooperation between Indonesia and Zimbabwe, so we are able not only to support the social development of Zimbabwe, but also it will be widening the platform to support the economic development. So this is the specific cooperation that I wanted to mention at this moment, because since 2020, Indonesia established Indonesian Agency for International Development. So in 2021, we are able to give a grant because of they are experiencing the cyclone Idai at that time in 2019, and then we give a contribution donation of the product of Kimia Pharma.
Okay.
Yeah. So in value of 150,000 US dollar. So thanks to the Indonesian aid that we have since 2020, so we are able to contribute. And then after that, Zimbabwe interested in to produce the pharmaceutical product of Indonesia in Zimbabwe. And then by 2022, the vice president of Zimbabwe visiting Indonesia, visiting Bio Farma in Bandung, and they would like to have the same factory here in Zimbabwe. So then how this development cooperation will support our economic development in the future. So that's why, we are prioritizing, we are give the specific cooperation on economic cooperation and also for international development cooperation in Zimbabwe.
Yes, sure. And was that a visit of Indonesian legislators in last June this year? Was it all about economic cooperation as well, or any other sectors?
Yes, indeed. It is basically through the interparliamentarian cooperation. Then I thanks to the visit of this parliamentarian visit last June. Then we can support it's supporting our economic platform diplomacy. So we with the BKSA through Pak Fadlizon, now we are trying to seek for support from the Indonesian Parliament how we strengthen the cooperation. What I heard now from Jakarta, for our Ministry for Foreign Affairs, in the forthcoming of Indonesia, the second Indonesia Africa Forum is going to be held in Bali in September, and there will be the side event on Indonesia Africa Interparliamentary Forum. That's a very good sign of that. Then thanks for that visit. Then we already give some what do you call it? We've been tasking by our parliament that how then we can expand this economic and development cooperation. Then we will do it.
Okay, and that's from economic cooperation. We've got also some information here in terms of defense industry.
Yeah.
When the Zimbabwe Defense Forces delegation visited Indonesian defense industry in Jakarta and Bandung, West Java last year, following the memorandum of understanding signed between the two countries' defense ministries in 2021. Any update on defense cooperation?
Yes, thank you very much for mentioning this one. This is the one that I would like to also to share with the Indonesian listener. That yes, through the economic, as I said, through the economic cooperation in development cooperation, we developed in our embassy in Harare since 2019. I came here in Harare in 2019. So. And then with this priority for economic cooperation, we also try to promote our strategic defense industry. Of course, we are not in the position. I mean, Zimbabwe is not a position to buy our product of PTDI or maybe some of Pindad product at this moment. But what we can see that Zimbabwe, we have opportunity to maintain the engines of Zimbabwe aircrafts. I mean military air force aircraft. So they have 6 of fighter Hawks, and they have 4 the CN type, which is we produce also in PTDI, and they have a couple of Bell helicopters. So those aircraft engines, we are able to maintain it and service in Bandung. So this is the one that we are, as you mentioned, the delegation visiting Indonesia for several times, and I had opportunity to accompany the visit of Zimbabwe Air Force to Bandung in March 2023. So what they have now is now they are agreed now to maintain to service for their engines in Bandung, in our Indonesian company, and hopefully to cross our fingers that they agreed during the Indonesia Africa Forum next September. So I'm so happy with this. Yeah. So hopefully we can make it. Now we're just trying not to arrange about the financing, how this Zimbabwe Air Force is able to finance the service, and yeah, if they service all engines, yeah, our Indonesian company can get income around 3 to 4 million US dollar. It's not bad, but it's good for starting. But what we would like to work in the future, then how then through this agreement between we have it, the letter of intent basically between the two defense ministry, so which is consists of cooperation of exchange of officer, cooperation of training, and then the third one is promoting of a strategic defense industry. So through this letter of intent for the long term, we would like to have a cooperation between Zimbabwe and Indonesia and defense strategic industry, and we would like to promote more of the Pindad products. As I mentioned before, that how this economic cooperation supporting strategic industry and then relate to the development assistance. So we are now trying to work on how through the let's say give example. When I mentioned about the we give a medication of Kimia Pharma, and then now they're leading up for they would like to import commercially, and they would like to establish the factory here with Bio Pharma in Zimbabwe. So we will do the same for the product of Pindad. So now through the development assistance, we would like to promote to propose to give a grant. Let's say for the product of our Maung and Pindad to Zimbabwe. Yeah, if our embassy here in Harare can get $1 million from Indonesian aid, so we can give around 8 to 10 of unit of Maung to Zimbabwe as a grant first, and then later on they will buy commercially. So this is the letter of intent between the defense cooperation they would like to promote.
Okay, hopefully it will be enhanced more in the future. And what about from people to people itself? Because one of interesting ways to get to know each other with foreign countries is through art, culture, and of course food or gastronomy diplomacy. What about that? What has been done by Indonesia and Zimbabwe?
Yeah, is people to people contact is always one of the, in this modern diplomacy, one of the key. Yeah, so we call it the soft diplomacy.
Yes.
And you mentioned about the gastronomy. Zimbabwe as a landlocked country is very far from Indonesia, and a very small population. The population of Zimbabwe is only the same, almost the same like the population of Jakarta.
Oh.
So no, it's not that. I mean, in terms of cultural relation, people to people contact in Zimbabwe, which is more than how our scholarship. We have the Kemitraan Negara Berkembang scholarship, which is every year. So we have students from Zimbabwe coming to Indonesia using this scholarship. So at this moment, thanks God that we are able to get at least around 20 to 30 of students. What do you call it? Use this scholarship to study Indonesia, and many of them they speak Bahasa very well because the teaching in Bahasa. So this is increased people to people contact. I see now more and more Zimbabwean speak Bahasa because they study in Indonesia. And the second, Universitas Pertahanan Unhan, our defense university, also provides scholarship for officer, sometimes civilian of Zimbabwe every year for master. So they speak Bahasa very well. And since starting from this year, Indonesian Agency for the International Development or Lembaga Dana Kerjasama Internasional from Ministry of Finance, from this year they starting give Zimbabwean for 50 scholarship. So this is one of the backbone of our people-to-people contact, our soft diplomacy. So hopefully, you mentioned about the food. Hopefully, then some of them they have an idea to open Indonesian restaurant here. Last April, we have a promotion of economic in one of in the second city of Zimbabwe. So I was approached by one of the a local chef here, because he was in Indonesia before, and then in Jakarta he tried nasi padang. So he has a very good idea. Very good idea. In Victoria Falls is the most famous of tourist destination in Zimbabwe. He would like to open Zimbabwe food restaurant together with nasi padang restaurant. So we will support him. So
Wow.
this is one this is one of the soft diplomacy developed, and then hopefully then it will increase and strengthen people to people contact. Other thing, this is something people are still what do you call it? Sometimes we forgot. Yeah, in Africa, including in Zimbabwe, so they have a fabric. They call it a Java print. So simply because, in the past during the spice route, to come here. So our batik is very famous here. So, but they cannot produce batik like we produce it back home.
Okay.
Yeah? Then they print it here, and then they call it a Java print. So now we are at the embassy. Now we are trying to promote this. They already know they have the Java print, but they don't know why they call it Java print. So we are at the embassy now. We are trying to increase, through promoting the batik here, and then of course batik is always have commercial value in our side. So through people to people contact, we are when Pak Fadli was here, I think we are now preparing some batik for Pak Fadli zone for our MP's counterpart here, because they would like to have this one. And it is our embassy now. We're trying to have the workshop of batik, and then train them how to make batik according their way. They have their own batik here. Well, slightly different when we be promoting batik, but through this workshop of batik, promoting wearing batik, then we would like to increase people to people contact.
All right, Mr. Ambassador, actually we would like to know more about Zimbabwe and also its relations with Indonesia, but unfortunately time is running out. Maybe next time we will talk more about Zimbabwe and its relations with Indonesia. And of course, I'm really looking forward to taste nasi padang and Zimbabwe food. Okay, Mr. Ambassador.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador Dewa Made Juniarta Sastrawan, Indonesian Ambassador to Zimbabwe, thank you so much for joining us on Voice of Indonesia. Have a good day.
Voice of Indonesia.